Pokemon Legends Arceus has officially been out for a week now, and I think it's safe to say that these are some of the best received Pokemon games to come out in years. Now, a lot of that has to do with the engaging gameplay loop and the massive changes made to staple features. So, let's take a look at some of those features and how they have the potential to radically change the Pokemon series going forward. So right off the bat, the first thing that's going to be apparent is the massive change to the mechanic of actually just catching Pokemon. Legends Arceus took a feature that's been largely the same for the past 20 years and have completely revitalized it. The game has turned the mechanic of simply navigating through your bag and pressing a few buttons to throw a Pokeball into its own very rewarding minigame. You're able to sneak up on Pokemon in real time using patches of grass or smoke bombs to stay hidden, or you can throw food items and berries to distract them, or you can use your own Pokemon to battle them the old-fashioned way, or if you got that big Dialga energy, you can just run up, throw a bunch of old musty apricorns in their face until you've utterly knocked their lights out, and then aptly go in for the capture. Go in for the capture, folks. Now, on top of all the various methods at your disposal for catching Pokemon, Legends Arceus throws one last curveball our way by having Pokemon react to you in different ways. Some will flee if they spot you, others will attack you and prevent you from catching them without doing battle, and then you have my personal favorites, the oblivious ones, like Bidoof, that are just head empty and will run right up to you with a big dumb catch me look on its face. With all these variables happening in real time, it's no surprise that the way you navigate the world is incredibly fluid. The freedom of movement in this game has got to be the pinnacle of any Pokemon game that has come out to date. You can easily dismount, throw out a Pokemon to gather items, and be back on your mount traveling without ever having to stop and wait for the gathering animation. And my god, does it feel so good capturing Pokemon while riding on the back of Baskia Legion. You get this slow down reaction time thing that makes you feel like you're curving bullets like Angelina Jolie in Wanted or something. Like, mwah, it's beautiful. I love this game. However, where the fluidity of movement really pays off in this game is the boss battles with the frenzied noble Pokemon. And I'm actually kind of surprised at how well Game Freak did with this feature, considering it's their first time taking a whack at this kind of gameplay and this battle system. Now, the first battle with Kleavor is a nice little dip of your toes into the water, but then the next battle with Lilligant ramps it up a notch. To even have a chance at beating the Lilligant fight, you have to time your dodges perfectly and utilize iframes. Now, Lilligant has two main attacks, a leaping attack that releases a small AoE at her point of landing, and a pulse attack that radiates out to cover the entire battlefield. Now, her leap attack can pretty easily be avoided by keeping your distance or by simply dodging away from her as she jumps towards you. However, to avoid the pulse attack, you need to perfectly time your dodge so that you're in iframes at the moment the pulse reaches you. Now, the Arcanine battle kicks things into overdrive. Firstly, you're dealt a handicap with an awkwardly shaped arena that limits your movement while giving advantage to Arcanine to move freely throughout it. And secondly, Arcanine is aggressive AF. His charge attack is pretty easily dodged, which is good because he spams that like a mofo the whole battle, but his crowd control, comboed with his ultimate, makes this fight fairly difficult. However, again, if you pay attention to the boss, time your dodges, and position yourself well, this fight is both incredibly fun and reasonably hard. I really got a big Monster Hunter vibe from this fight, which is great because I love Monster Hunter, and I kind of felt like I was in the ring fighting like a Teostra or a Lunastra or some kind of Elder Dragon when I was fighting Arcanine, and I loved it so much. Now, going off script a little bit here, because at the time when I wrote this, I had not fought Electrode yet, but now as I'm recording the video, I have fought and beat Electrode. So we're going to talk about Electrode real quickly. So if Arcanine kicked things into overdrive after Lilligant, Electrode came through with a hysterical frenzy of panic and anxiety and non-stop attacks. This battle was ridiculous. You could not stop moving, could not stop throwing bombs, like you had to be on your toes left, right, and center. This battle reminded me a lot of the Vacuous Rom battle from Bloodborne, the way you have the main boss and then you have this boss summoning things, and then you have it also, attacking you with energy beams and stuff. Like this battle is probably one of the hardest battles I've ever had to do in a Pokemon game, and I actually loved that. It was fun, it was fast paced, It was hectic as hell, but I loved every part of it, and I actually thought, like, I was actually scared to actually die. Like, I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, I need to move or else I'm gonna get hit with this 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever attack is throwing at you, right? Honestly, the flow of boss battles is so smooth. Maneuvering around never feels awkward or clunky. Dodging is quick and responsive, so you never feel late on the draw. Hitboxes are appropriately sized and feel fair. And overall, the battle system just feels so perfectly balanced for enjoyability and for difficulty. And thank Arceus, that balance and enjoyability extends on over to the actual Pokemon battles. Now, the battle system has very obviously been entirely revamped for this game. Certain moves do completely different things than they normally do. Weather effects, stat changes, and status ailments all work entirely different in Legends Arceus. However, none of that is what I want to talk about because I feel like those changes only work for this type of Pokemon game and not the main series games as a whole, and I also don't consider those changes to be some of the best, most transformative for the series going forward. What I do think is the best change to the battling that should be adapted into all future games is the user interface. Legends Arceus has such an immersive battle UI, you barely have to navigate through menus or bags and can access basically everything you need besides potions and revives right there on the battlefield. Want to switch a Pokemon? Simply scroll through your team bar with the left and right buttons, click the right trigger, and voila, you're switching Pokemon. Want to throw a Pokeball? Press X to switch from your team selection bar to the Pokeball bar, click right trigger, and voila, you're throwing a Pokeball. Getting your ass handed to you and need to flee? Simply press B and you're out of that battle faster than you can say, Arceus, save me. Now, these all seem like really small changes, and admittedly they are, but sometimes a little goes a long way. These few small changes, in combination with the changes made to movement and to catching, makes everything feel so much more immersive and just so much more fluid and smooth. And you're going to hear me say that a lot in this video: immersive, smooth, and fluid, because that's like the best way to describe the game. The game just feels very smooth and easy to get around. Now when I play the game, I feel like I'm actually a Pokemon trainer living and breathing in this world. I just feel more pulled in to the game than I ever have in any other Pokemon game. Another great stride towards immersion is the changes made to filling the Pokédex. Now, I've seen mixed feelings about the research requirements to fill the dex, but I honestly love this feature as well. In past games, you're always tasked with helping the professor research and fill the dex, but it never actually feels like you're doing anything to facilitate that process. For example, in past games, you catch a Pokemon and then instantly you get the dex entry and all the information for them. So it's kind of like, if all of this information was already in the Pokédex, what and how did I really just contribute to the research? Now, in Legends Arceus, to fill a specific Pokemon's page, you need to actually research the Pokemon. You need to catch it and fight it, and you need to fight and catch multiple of them. You need to witness them do things like using specific attacks. You need to capture different sizes, different genders, different forms. You got to capture them at specific times of the day, etc., etc. And I personally love that. It just makes the game feel so immersive, like I've been saying the whole video, right? And it just pulls you in that much more because, again, you actually feel like a character living in this world, progressing towards something, doing something that a real character in this world would be doing. I understand that this kind of grind to fill the Pokédex is not everyone's cup of tea, and me being a longtime Monster Hunter player makes this gameplay loop right up my alley. But for the casual players, I feel like if this feature was to stay in the series, and I hope it does, they'll need to water it down a bit. So instead of catch 25 Weasel, in future games it can be something simple like catch 5 Weasel, battle 3, or battle 5, catch 3. Because not every game can or will be as big as Legends Arceus, so the feature, although great, does need to be streamlined if it's implemented into future games. Something that does need to be in every game going forward from here on out till the end of time is non-mandatory trait evolutions. I cannot tell you how much I love the system in this game. It is fantastic, 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 fantastic. My God. I love it. I love it. Okay. All right. Okay. Getting back on script. I get that Game Freak initially implemented trait evolutions to encourage social play with friends and family, but the feature is just so outdated and limiting. because realistically, not everyone has someone to reliably trade with and then trade them back their evolved Pokemon. And with the price of a Switch and the complex way you have to set up your Nintendo account so that you can trade with yourself, it's not easy or user friendly to just buy another Switch and just start trading with yourself. For example, my girlfriend has a friend who got back into Pokemon with Sword and Shield, and he doesn't have anyone to trade with. So here and there, he'll message her and ask if I can trade with him to evolve his Pokemon and then trade back. Now, if he didn't have me to trade with, he would literally not be able to evolve so many of his Pokemon. This is why they need to really consider having an alternative way to evolve trade evolution Pokemon for those who don't have a simple way to evolve some of their favorite Pokemon. Turning evolution items into usable items that evolve trade evolution Pokemon is such a needed quality of life improvement going forward with the games. Will Game Freak do it? I honestly don't know. I sort of feel like this is just a one-off for the Legends Arceus series because these games are largely single player and trading isn't as much of a big deal, but I do hope that they keep this feature in some capacity in the future games because it is beautiful. Again, I feel like I've broken a record at this point. Now, luckily, Pokemon Legends Arceus is rife with other amazing quality of life improvements that I actually think will make their way into all, if not most, future games. First, the big two, EV training and teaching your Pokemon new attacks. EV training has been made extremely accessible in this game via the Grit Gravel system, and again, I love it. I feel like I should put up a counter for how many times I say I love it and immersion or immersive in this video because I really feel like I am just beating a dead horse at this point. But anyways, back on topic. EV training is notoriously tedious, time consuming, and confusing for casual players. It's also completely counterintuitive with the new experience share. For people who don't know how EV training works, every time your Pokemon gains experience from battling, they get an EV point towards a specific stat. Every 4 EV points increases said stat by 1. Every Pokemon you battle has a designated stat that they will give your Pokemon when defeated. And finally, there's a total maximum EVs any single Pokemon can have. So essentially, your EVs are a limited resource that you want to use smartly or somewhat intelligently. Now, with the way the experience share has worked for the last several games, every Pokemon in your party gains experience, and this is a problem. If I have an Abra, which is a special attacker, and a Machop, a physical attacker, in my party, and I fight Pokemon that give special attack EVs, I'm essentially wasting EVs on Machop that could be going towards its physical attack stat since I'm never going to use Machop for special attacks. However, with Legends Arceus' system, none of that matters anymore because gaining experience doesn't inherently give your Pokemon EVs. You control 100% of which EVs your Pokemon has by using the Grit Gravel items to raise specific stats. Now, for implementing the Grit Gravel system into future games, they would obviously have to put a cap on the amount each Pokemon can have because they have to consider balance for competitive play in the long run. But otherwise, this is the best way to do EVs going forward because the modern XP share works against the player and EV training really just sucks. This new system is incredibly user friendly and it takes so much of the legwork out of EV training. Now casual players can just figure out by looking at their Pokemon and its move pool that, okay, this Pokemon is clearly a special attacker with a lot of speed, and then they can just pump Grit Gravel into that special attack and speed stat. And since I just mentioned move pools, let's talk about those for a minute, because again, Legends Arceus just did it so freaking bright. I love this game. So now, whenever you teach your Pokemon a move, or it learns one via level up, it's always accessible to you at the time, so you can teach it or reteach it if you've replaced it straight from your team screen. This change honestly reminds me of a lot of other RPGs, especially Fire Emblem Three Houses and their equipment mechanics, because essentially in Legends Arceus, you're equipping Pokemon with moves from its move pool, which you can also add to by visiting Zisu at the training field to buy new ones, similar to how you would buy armor and weapons in any other RPGs, and then you just swap them in and out as needed. Having this level of customization to your Pokemon on the fly while you're out in the field or on a route is game changing. If you know you're about to have a rival fight at the end of a route, you can easily swap out any unneeded moves for ones that'll be more useful during that fight. Not only does this give the player more freedom and agency, and reduces tedious things like having to go back to a relearner all the time or farm up hard skills, it does one of my favorite things that I love to mention in this video. It creates better immersion, and I'm about to tell you why. It just makes sense that you, as the Pokemon's trainer, should be able to just pull over to the side of the road or in the forest or whatever and train your Pokemon to learn new things or to relearn old things. I have just never understood why I have to go to a specific NPC to delete or relearn a move. It always slightly annoyed me, and it just never made sense. I'm the trainer. I should be able to especially train my Pokemon to learn a move that I've already learned, that it's already learned, essentially. Now, to segue from this rant, another thing that's always annoyed me and doesn't make sense that Legends Arceus has changed is nicknames. I have never understood why I have to go to a random NPC to rename my goddamn fire-breathing dragon battle pet. What the figgity fuck? How does that even make sense? If I want to rename patches, I should just be able to do it right there on the spot. Just look at the little dude right in the face and be like, hey, pick him up. Look at him. Hey, you, look at me. Look at me, you small little bastard. Look at me. Yeah, you are now named Skittles. Get it? Get it? Good. Get it? Got it? Good? Good. Put him down and boom, poof, there we go. Job done. His name is now Skittles. Was it that hard? Why did I have to go to an old man in some random house in God knows what city? I can't even remember what city because I always forget what city, and I just don't understand why that has been a thing for the past 20 years in all the games. Like, it's such a small feature, but again, it goes such a long way, and they definitely cannot take this power from us in the next games. I won't allow it. I will not allow it. I will stand up for us. I will rally the people and we will riot. And we will take our power to rename our Pokemon whenever, wherever, however we feel like it. Okay? Don't take this from us, Game Freak. We need this. We need this W for all future games, okay? Now finally, my last feature that I think is one of the best to come out of Legends Arceus and that I hope is carried over into future games is size differences. I just love it. I think the entire community loves it. I think this is one thing that 100% of Pokemon players are in agreement and unified on. Running around with a giant Wurmple that's like 2 feet taller than your player, or a tiny Garchomp that doesn't even come up to your waist, is just fun. It's quirky, it adds another layer of aesthetic appeal for shiny hunters. It's just a good time all around, and it clearly shows that you can have Pokemon be more accurate to their actual sizes and still have the game run smoothly. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this one, folks. Those are all the best features from Pokemon Legends Arceus that I think will change the series going forward if they're implemented into future games. So as usual, let me know what you guys think of anything I discussed in this video, and let me know some of your favorite features down below in the comments. But for now, I'm off for this one, so y'all know the dealio. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to slap that like button and subscribe for more Pokemon content, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace!